Reminder to indicate if you have a question. We'll send a mic holder your way, and let's direct questions to Coach Alford, please.
Coach, just want to start off with the news of the day being the contract extension, or the new contract rather, as opposed to an extension. Can you just comment on that first of all, and then I might have some follow-up questions, but can you just comment on getting that out of the way at this time?
Well, just excited about it. I've had a lot of fun through 6 years. It's something that I think we've really started to put, our imprint on our program, and we've got the things there in place to, one, continue to be successful. Got our whole starting five coming back, great recruiting class, so there's so many good things. Some things you can't go around, and that's your fan base, and our fan base is second to none. And when you get an opportunity to coach in that kind of fan base, every game, including exhibition games, I've said it all year, but there can't be too many places in the country that average 12-5 in the exhibition season back in November. So it's just a very special place, and we feel like that we've got it going in a very positive direction, and to be signed in there long term was a commitment that I appreciate out of the school, and hopefully they're appreciative of my commitment as well.
Was the timing of it in any way I know your name starts popping up this time of year anyway in articles around the country about other openings. Was the timing of it today in any way to avoid that, or have there been any talks? Have you been reached out to?
You're not going to avoid all that stuff anyway. It just happens every spring, and you're humbled by it, and you're appreciative when it does happen because it probably means you're doing a good job. If you're not getting talked about, then you're probably not doing a good job. So, and those things change yearly. So it was really just about, I don't know about timing as much as it was just coming to terms and knowing that this is where I wanted to be. This is a commitment that I wanted to make more than anything else, because I found an institution, I found an area of the country that I really, really like. We're being extremely successful, and we think we can be even more successful in the future. So I think that was more of the reason than anything else.
Hi, Coach. Lauren here from KOAT. I've got kind of a two-parter question. One, talk about how you're enjoying or thriving off the fact that New Mexico is really getting noticed right now on a national stage.
Well, we've really made some steps in the right direction, and I think that's what's fun about this process. When you look at it, 3 or 4 years ago when we were in the NCAA Tournament, I don't think anybody even knew about us, and we were 30-5 that year. Actually 30-4 going into the NCAA Tournament, and 29-4 because we won the first game, then lost to Washington. We'd won our league. We'd had a big-time year that year. Then you follow that up last year where we won the league and won the league tournament going into last year's NCAA Tournament, and we drew a very, very good Long Beach State team, and not a whole lot of attention again nationally. Started to gain a little bit of momentum. We get Louisville in the next round, and we started to come on to the forefront, but then picked third or fourth in our league this year. Now there's a lot more attention. There's more momentum there, and that's good for us nationally. That's something that we've been thriving and striving to do in the last 6 years, and we're seeing some headway there. And now, as I've mentioned it, regardless of what happens in the tournament, to win 29 games to date, be a hot team coming into the tournament, and then knowing all 5 starters return, hopefully we can take this momentum into the following season as well.
Your players are getting noticed too. I brought it up to the players right before, but Hugh was mentioned as the hottest basketball player for Cosmo in March Madness. How do you make sure your players aren't getting?
I just don't know who voted on that. His mother and father were over here for about a 5-week span from Australia, so I don't know if there were just 2 votes on that or what. But yeah, it is. It's good. We're getting a lot of attention in a lot of publications. We're getting a lot of attention nationally, whether it be newspapers or things that are happening across the board in television. Our name is getting out there, and I think that is a big piece of the puzzle if you're wanting to take that next step.
Me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Obviously, New Mexico has been a place that for decades has had a ton of potential and hasn't quite made it, but now that you seem to be getting to another level, what was going on when you got there? Or I guess the question is, what did you see that as the missing piece or pieces that needed to be filled in?
Well, I'm not for sure because I knew nothing about New Mexico as a basketball team, program, state. I knew nothing about it. I'd been there once before to see a Coach Knight team play in the NCAA tournament, and that's the only time I'd even been in the entire state. So I don't know if I had any, things going in. I just knew that, as you mentioned, there was potential. I wouldn't have even interviewed. I was in the Big Ten. I don't think the interview would have even taken place had I not seen potential. And Coach Knight was pivotal in that. He's been in the game a lot longer than I have at a much, much higher level and much, much more success. So I really leaned on him. And he's always liked that area. He's always thought that there was an awful lot of potential there. And I saw that. And I saw the passion. I felt it in the interview. So you look at everything that's been done there. We've renovated the pit. We have one of the nicest facilities anywhere in the country. I don't care where you go in college basketball. There can't be too many facilities when you look at everything about it, from the arena to the practice facility to the training facility, the weight room, the locker rooms. We have one of the nicest facilities anywhere in the country. Then you match that with arguably the best fan base in the country. Now it's just your job to put a great product out there, and then things can happen. And I think we've been able to do that through the last 6 years. We've put a very good product out there, and we've won games, we've won championships, and now we're trying to take that to another level.
Going back to your contract, what was some of the main reasons, like your sons being a part of the team and the fan base and all that? Did any of those things have a factor?
Well, there's no question. My sons have a lot to do with it because they mean a great deal to me, and so there were talks with them, of, is this what you want? Are there other things that you'd like to look at? And because I've made a lot of moves, not so much against the family. All of our moves are talked about as a family, but you still, you're the driving force. And I wanted to make sure that as this was thought through, it wasn't just about me or my career and those type of things, because I do have two boys that love basketball and they're playing the game, and Corey's wanting to get into coaching someday, and Bryce obviously with the career that he's had at La Cueva and can play anywhere in the country. And both of them are, the whole family's been, this is what they want to do and this is what they want to be. And they've grown up in the last 6 years going to the pit, and really you only need one pit experience to understand how special that is, to run down the ramp and then get a play on that floor. So we're very blessed that they're going to have an opportunity to do that.
Coach, Tony Snell doesn't seem to get quite the accolades that some of the other guys do, but from your perspective, what has he brought to you guys? What's kind of his?
Well, I think it's hard
niche?
because every week those accolades can change. It wasn't but about 3 weeks ago where Kendall Williams scored 46 points. I don't know if he's combined for 46 maybe in the last 2 or 3 games, but he does so many different things for us. And Tony's the same way. I think we have a lot of guys on our team that can have very good games and really lead to success without scoring 20 points every game. And Tony's one of those guys. Now, in the conference tournament, he became a very good scorer in those 3 games, but he was even a better defender. What he did defensively in those 3 games, in my mind, were just as impressive of what he was doing offensively. And he has gained great momentum offensively because of what he's doing defensively. He never had any confidence defensively. And I think so many athletes and coaches talk about offensive confidence. You don't talk about it, the defensive very often. And I think he's developed over the year an awful lot of confidence at that end. And now it's opened him up, it's freed him up, and he's doing a lot more now for us as far as driving the ball, getting to the free throw line, getting out in transition. He's always been a great shooter, but he's doing so much more offensively than just being a shooter now.
We remind you that flash photography is prohibited in here. Thanks. Right here.
Coach, I asked the guys to compare maybe a Mountain West team to Harvard. Boise State surprised me. They said Boise State's probably the best comparison, maybe Air Force. Do you agree with the Boise State comparison, and what do you see with Harvard?
I'm not for sure. I don't know if I'm ready to make those comparisons. Just seeing a team on tape, that's hard to do. I've not seen Harvard obviously live anywhere, and on TV I haven't seen them. So everything's just been over tape the last 3 days. But I don't know if I can compare them to any of our league teams, just as I don't know if they could compare us to any of the Ivy League teams. I just know that they're extremely well coached. And anytime you play against a team that is as well coached as they are, you've got a lot of concerns. Tommy and I go way back. We graduated from high school the same year. He played for Coach Krzyzewski. I played for Coach Knight. So we had an opportunity to play for the two best minds, in my opinion, in the game scene. We got a chance to do that. So we kind of come from the same trees that way. And watching them on tape, they do a lot of sound things fundamentally, both offensively and defensively. And they've got experience. They were here last year. They've won the Ivy League consecutive years now. They were here last year, so they got kind of their feet wet, just as our group of young men in our locker room did. So now you got two teams that have had a little bit of experience in the NCAA tournament, and now it's about trying to advance further. And that's why I think it makes for a great matchup.
Coach, can you talk about the improvement Alex has made over the past couple years, and then just how much of a matchup issue he is with going inside and outside?
Well, Alex was having a really good freshman season, and then I think got a little wore down late in his freshman year. We were having to play him probably some extended minutes. I think he got tired. That's what a lot of freshmen do, especially big men, because it is different than high school. And then the back injury happened in the summer, and he missed an entire year, had back surgery. So there were a lot of question marks coming into the season of just how he was going to be able to perform. And he's gone beyond every expectation, and that's a great credit to him. He got cleared to go about full-time in late January last year, so you got to give him a lot of credit. He worked awfully hard at his game, at his conditioning, at his strength. He listened to trainers. He listened to strength coaches. He did all the things that you've got to do when you're coming back from a serious injury like that. And I don't know if anybody, if there was a comeback player of the year after missing 1 year that had nothing to do with just redshirting, he would have to be at the top of the list. He has done so much. I think he's got more block shots than 5 or 6 of our league teams combined, and we play in a pretty good league. So he does the job defensively. He's such a tough matchup offensively because he can beat you in the post and he can step out in pick and pop situations and hurt you on the perimeter. So his development at both ends obviously has meant an awful lot to the success of this team this year.
Having seen Harvard on film now, what do you think are going to be the keys to the game?
I'm sorry?
What do you think are going to be the keys to the game now that you've seen Harvard on film?
I think anytime you get in postseason play, it's about being who you are. You don't change things now. So, if Harvard can play the way they've played all year, if we can play the way we've played all year, those would be keys for both of us. Does one team get out of character? Does one team get in foul trouble? Where you have to change substitution patterns and how you want to play. Does one team turn the ball over more than the other? I think those are always big issues when you get to a tournament where it's one and done if you lose. And we've been really doing a good job with taking care of the basketball. Our last 10 games, we've averaged 9 or fewer turnovers in that 10-game span. So that's enabled our offense to kick in a little bit that probably wasn't there a month and a half ago, and that's probably why we're playing at a little higher level. Our defense has always been there. The offense has taken a little bit of time to get there, and I've seen that really develop in the last month. And so it's just we want to be who we are. If we are who we are and it's not good enough, we shake the hands of Harvard and tell them congratulations and good job. We just hope we don't get beat being somebody that we're not. That's always I think the risk you try to guard against this time of year.
Coach, it didn't matter who you talked to in that locker room. Every one of them said, I know my role. I know my role. Do you instill that right away from day one with them that this is who you need to be?
Well, I hope so. I think that's a big part of building a team, and we've always talked about New Mexico. We're a program. We're not just a seasonal thing or a yearly thing. We don't want to be a flash in the pan. We don't want to have one good year, 3 bad years. We want to build a program, and I go all the way back to that first team. They believed. They bought in right away, and we were able to win 24 games in that first year and gain momentum. We really were able to get out of the starting block a little quicker than what we thought, and I think that's been great. Now, roles change during the year, and I think our players have done a great job of understanding that. If you remember right, in October we were talking about a 4-guard lineup, and by the time we got back from the Virgin Island trip in around Thanksgiving, we'd thrown the 4-guard lineup out. And, so the roles do change during the year. And these guys have done a tremendous job of accepting that, moving on, and trying to get better at the roles that they have.
Anything more for Coach Alford? All right, thank you, Coach.
Okay, thank you very much.